we believe in Canadians first, all Canadians, and there's a lot of Canadians in need. So
I guess that's true, but like when our government is funding like subsidies for oil companies and that kind of thing, like why can't we put that towards social programs that actually help migrants and help immigrants? And I just feel that like I just feel like no person is illegal on stolen land. Like I live on stolen land. I'm an immigrant. You know what I mean? Like we're all immigrants. Like we're not Canadian. I feel because we're all Europeans. Like we came here, we stole this land. Like and kind of with that in mind.
That way.
Okay.
You know, we view our Aboriginal people as one of the founding people of our great country.
Okay.
Right? And if you go to the government website, also British and French are included in there. That's not just us. That's the federal government. So go check that out. But back then, before the Europeans arrived, the First Nations were in conflict with each other. They were taking slaves and they were fighting. Some of them were nomadic, some were...
Well, we made them slaves when we came here.
But there's also slaves going on then.
We started like the Atlantic slave trade. We brought slaves from Africa. We brought slaves from wherever to basically work for us. And I feel that we can't look at that in the Eurocentric way that you guys are looking at that.
But we have to acknowledge that it was European Canadians that principally founded our country in terms of the institutions, the legal system, the educational system. There would be no Canada as we have today without our great Europeans that came. Was it perfect back then? No. But these were initially pioneers that came to Canada historically. They were also settlers. They took raw land and they made something of Canada. And they were nation builders. So we got to acknowledge that part of it. We should be proud of our heritage as traditional Canadians.
I disagree. I don't feel proud of my heritage because we brought diseases. We purposely poisoned the indigenous people of this land to eradicate them. And the founders of our country were racist. They started the schools, not schools, that imprisoned indigenous people, took away their culture, took away their language, and now because of that they're suffering from intergenerational trauma, which I feel we're not dealing enough with. And when we have ideologies such as our own that's like against people who are different than yours, it's not helping the situation when we're trying to heal our past, when we're trying to heal with minorities. And I just believe that we need to be more empathetic to people in different situations as indigenous people were to us when we first came here, leaving persecution, leaving bad conditions in Europe. Like first, like indigenous people were sympathetic towards us. They opened their arms to us, and you know what I mean? Like I feel like we need to have that same mindset when it comes to migrants.
I've talked to Aboriginals about this, and there was a lot of bloodshed, blood on everyone, like the British, the French, the Aboriginals.
Well, the indigenous people were defending their land.
They were scalping British, innocent British people.
But what were we doing to them?
No, but they were working with the French. The French were supplying the scalps, the devices, and they were thousands of British were scalped. It wasn't just and think of the U.S. context. The U.S. They basically wiped out the Aboriginals in the U.S. In Canada, we didn't do that. We tried to work with them. Okay?
I disagree.
No, but if we wanted to wipe them out, we had the military power and etc. to do it, but we didn't do that.
Well, similar to the...
No, you have to understand that. And am I saying it perfectly? Like,
but we did commit a genocide. We totally obliterated their culture.
By not letting people immigrate here from countries that are in a current state of war, we are technically killing people, but just in a different way. You're not giving people refuge from the countries that they're trying to flee from, where they're dying, where their families are dying. So you're technically just doing the exact same thing.
A lot of Canada was not habited back then. And during the time when the pre-Confederation, if you look at the numbers, Aboriginals were only 1% of the total population at the time in pre-Confederation. Only 1%.
Okay.
I'm just saying there would be no Canada. Try and look at all the positives of what we created. Do you love Canada today?
Yes, I like Canada.
So you got to love Europeans for what they did.
But I
because
believe there's
that,
3 more steps.
That is a reflection on them, right? So just understand that context. And we love our Aboriginal people at NCA. We will not tolerate any abuse of them. But they've been manipulated by the systems in place to this day. Even the political structure of Aboriginals is corrupt today. It's top down, right? You know that, right? So we want to reform that so it starts from the bottom up, so all Aboriginals have a say. We would love to give them seats in this.
Sure.
So we're the only federal party running that wants to give them actual seats, like they have in New Zealand. We'd love to have them in there having their own integral voice on issues facing the country. Wouldn't that be great?
Yes, I agree that we need more
You know,
representation
and
of Indigenous.
we also want to encourage self-help for our Aboriginal people. Because what they do, these extreme parties, it's all, you know, they try and pander to them, and then it's, when they get in, it's just all welfare.
So if you're doing this for the Indigenous people, why can't you do that for immigrants then?
No, but we support Canadians all the same. We're not against immigrants. Like I said, I was in Brampton meeting with the Indo-Canadian community, and they love us.
So, I was just kind of reading a thing. What's your whole thing with the ideological? I can't say it.
Ideological?
Yeah,
Ideological.
at the border crossings. Like what
Well,
religious people. What
we
religious
don't
people
want
practice.
radical extremists coming in, like the Edmonton terrorists who came in.
Yes, but wouldn't that infringe on the people's right to practice what religion they want to? And wouldn't that be comparable to what Nazis did during the Holocaust?
No, we think there's certain.
Where does the line stop?
It stops on.
Where you can judge someone based on their religion.
It's based where it contradicts
based
our
on their
liberties
religion.
and civil rights. So we actually have people in this country who want to implement Sharia political Islam. We have issue with that.
Okay, yes, that shouldn't happen.
But they're in here, so I just understand. I was in Mississauga. I interviewed a gentleman, and he was supportive of public beheadings. Is that something you support?
Oh God, no.
No, it's sick. But they're, again, when it comes to homosexuals, they would throw them from the highest height. We don't want that in our country. We don't want women abused, treated as second-class citizens. Right? We don't want a union of religion and state in government. So these radical extremes, that's what we're looking for. We don't want that. And you can look at our video. There's an imam here from Mississauga, and his whole life is devoted to the implementation of a world caliphate. And I told him, I wish no ill will on you. I wish you the best, but I question why you're in our country. What does that have to do with being Canadian? That's all we're saying. Why should we be letting those type of people, peace be upon them. We don't wish any ill will, right? But what does that have to do with our liberties, our civil rights as a country? That's all we're saying. So at the border, we would want to make sure those type of people do not enter. That's it.
But we also have these laws and in the Constitution where we are guaranteed rights and freedoms and freedom to practice which religion we please. And that scenario won't happen because we have checks and balances to make sure that those are separate. But when you propose that we have these religious checks at the border, that is infringing on people's right to practice what they want to practice,
Can I ask how
want to practice.
you would differentiate an immigrant from someone that practices something non-Canadian?
We don't have issues with someone coming here who's non-Canadian.
Yeah.
But if they're bringing something that violates fundamentally our liberties, civil rights, we have issues.
But how would you know that at the border?
We would have to, there could be people red flagged, and then we would do research on them.
So if they had a Quran
if we
in their
find
bag,
there's
would
a
they be
radical
red flagged?
imam wanting to come in who supports Sharia and is bent on the practice of Sharia in our communities, we don't want that person in our country. And just look at the UK. There's around 80 Sharia courts that are operating. I was just in Mississauga doing a fact check, and there was a mosque area, and they were talking about setting up Sharia marital services, Sharia legal services. So it's coming to Canada. We want to amend the charter to have reasonable limitations on the practice of religion, ideology in Canada. That's common sense. We don't want people harming minorities like homosexuals, LGBTQ. We don't want our women mistreated, right? So there has to be reasonable limitations. Personally, I don't support Sharia. I know what it's about now. I've done my research. The problem with it, when it comes to some members of the Islamic community, it's viewed as God's law. That's how they view it. That's why they want to implement it. Nothing is beyond. If you're in that mindset, nothing's beyond God.
But
that's why they don't. Some of these people don't integrate. They never become Canadian because God is supreme in their mind. That's why I don't think it should be here. I'm being honest. But we got a tough path ahead because of the charter, which is allowing all this nonsense.
So what you're basically saying is that you want to restrict people's religious right to freedom.
We think there has to be reasonable limitations on it. We can't have the radical extremism. It just goes too far. And it could be Christian offshoots. It could be Sikh offshoots from that. Who knows?
If you have a government like that, say if you were in government and you're placing some kind of limitations, how do you know that in 2 years' time you're not placing limitations on being Jewish?
But like, where does
it
stop? But you're giving all these examples of a very, very small minority.
I know.
Very small.
It will be clearly
very small
our
sect.
purpose in amending the charter is to sharpen it, to clarify it, to define it, so there's no ambiguity with it. Because right now it's very vague. It was intended to be vague, but we believe it would serve our country's betterment through actually giving it more focus. Because this gray area is allowing these extremism, and that's the last thing we want. NCA believes in freedom of speech, and we think that's wonderful, but there has to be reasonable limitations.
Mm-hmm. But the reasonable
do you want someone practicing in an enclave Sharia
law?
Yes, because it's happening.
But
it's happening.
It's
practicing
happening.
Islam is different than them practicing Sharia, and a lot of the people
I know
that are
that.
leaving
I
the
agree
Middle
with
East
you.
are leaving Sharia law,
But
leaving persecution, and that's why we should be open to immigrants
We are.
and be able to accept.
I'll give you an example. We have a lady from Saudi Arabia who's part of our party. She donates to our party. She fled Sharia in Saudi Arabia. She's a doctor of medicine, just a beautiful woman, and we're proud to have her part of NCA. But she loves us because we're the only party that's talking the truth about the radical extremism. That's why she loves us. Beautiful woman. And we want to bring, within limitations, more political asylum seekers like that into Canada, within limits, right? Right? You understand that? And I know in Calgary, there's certain groups that are pushing female genital mutilation. They were justifying it in articles. This is going on behind the scenes. How does that make you feel?
I don't like that.
It's terrible, right? See, understand that this is good, right?
But
there are limits. We have to be careful, like you're saying. But all Canadians would have a say on any amendment. That's the way we would do it. It would be a referendum. So you would have a say, right?
I just disagree with what the extremes that you're
like
proposing.
What? Like what?
The ideological border checks. I feel that's just totally against the Constitution, totally against the Charter of Rights and Freedoms.
Well, we would amend that to allow us to do it, but we'd only use it.
But that will still infringe on people's rights.
Well, what about the rights of the people in Edmonton, where there were some terrorist who came up, drove the U-Haul, and then started stabbing a police officer? What about their rights? Don't they matter?
Yes, everyone's rights matter,
right?
But we need to be able to create like a system that...
What about our safety as Canadians, all Canadians, in our communities? Doesn't that matter?
Okay.
You can't
Right?
guarantee a totally safe
You
country.
can't, but you have to do things that will bring about reasonable safety within reasonable limits. And we have every right to decide who enters
It's like
and
when,
who does not. That defines us as a country.
would you feel comfortable with leaving your front door open every night?
I already feel comfortable with it.
Well, it depends on your neighborhood.
Yes,
right?
I know, it depends on, yes, that's true, yes.
But
I,
think about it from that angle, right?
Is
And-
this like an analogy to like our borders? Because our borders aren't open. There's already checks and balances to where people come in. There's already like checks and balances to see if people are extremism. And what I feel that you're also not talking about the rising right-wing extremism and the right-wing white supremacist
We call
extremism.
it out.
But like this is what the anti-immigration, I'm arguing anti-Islam rhetoric that you're
No. It's not
portraying.
anti-Islam. We oppose political Islam, right? And we call out the KKK in different groups like that. We call them out,
Okay.
but they're not as a, you know.
But is it in your platform to kind of take more action against these groups that are persecuting minorities, that are targeting minorities, and that's becoming increasingly mainstream? Would you do something about that? Or
Honestly,
are you
yeah.
only focusing
No.
on
We call them
on
out.
a Eurocentric?
We call them out in our policy. It doesn't matter whether you're Antifa, KKK. We're gonna apply the law the same.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. And I publicly called out some of those groups. You know, they're sick. They've gone to an extreme. I've seen it, and it was beautiful in Toronto that we were able to hook up with some Indo-Canadian groups. We were able to hook up with the Jewish community on different issues
Okay.
and come together on common sense. It was beautiful. And the last thing we want to see is people persecuting, for example, the Muslim community. That's the last thing we want to see. We don't wish any ill will there. But when it comes to political Islam, we know too much about it.
Yeah.
It has no place in Canada.
Yeah, there's now the Islamic political party, Islamic political
It
party in
has-
Ontario,
It just
and they have said that they want to they want to turn Canada into an Islamic country.
yeah, it just
They
has
have
no
said,
place.
they have
And I
said
say that,
it's right in their
I say
website.
that
It's
from
right
a
in their
liberty,
website.
civil rights standpoint. That's the reason it has
How
no
is it
place.
hurting you that it exists when you live in a country where you know no one will vote for that?
It doesn't
Like
matter.
it wouldn't happen.
how-
But what's already happened?
What about your consciousness knowing it's going on in the background right now? How does it make you feel that you know women are being female genitally mutilated right now?
Well, I have
in
my
Canada.
own beliefs, and I know that.
But
that's not-
how does that make you feel that women?
that doesn't
are
make
being-
me feel good? But I don't advocate for.
It doesn't matter. Our system is allowing it in the background.
Okay, but our
It's going
system
on.
is
But
never
it's
going to
illegal,
allow
and
it on a
when-
national level.
But if you look at UK and the trajectory of that country, they're about 10 years, 15 years ahead of us. We are headed there. I have no issue with our Muslim Canadians, and I just want to stress that. But when it comes to political Islam, we do have issue. We don't support public beheadings. We don't want that in our country.
Yes, and I feel no one here supports that. But
I interviewed a gentleman who's a Canadian citizen who supports that. So what are you going to say to that? He's only one of many. And that's part of Sharia.
It's on our website. The video is on
yeah,
our website.
check it out. This
but
isn't
it's
made up.
super, very, very small minority, and
It's still
when that happens, like we already have these checks and balances to counter that, to make sure that stuff doesn't happen.
still
but-
going on behind the scenes.
Okay,
I'm letting you know that, especially with the enclaves eventually leading to no-go zones like the UK.
okay. So how would you plan to solve what's going on behind closed doors that any of us in the public can't see without hurting the privacy rights of people, without doing a broad scope of everybody and targeting specific minorities like people
Yeah.
who practice Islam or any other minority religion? How do you propose not doing that in a way that isn't infringing on their rights? Because I believe that there
100%.
isn't a way to do that, and
It starts. It's a multifaceted approach, dealing with immigration, the people coming in, right? Dealing with the charter and the vagueness, which is allowing it, in our opinion.
I just feel this sentiment is a wrong step towards fascism and towards authoritarianism, where the rights of Canadians are being degraded for something that isn't in the mainstream. It is a problem, but
Yeah, the only thing we're proposing right now, it's a free-for-all in our society. We're saying let's just tighten it a bit, and let's really define who we are and what we value, and make sure that those type of people, it doesn't matter where they come from.
But you think, excuse me, you think you want to go back 45 years?
No, it's not about going back. It's just about giving more.
I came here in 1973. You couldn't believe what we went through.
Where did you come from?
I'm from India. I'm an engineer, and people, call us Paki. People run after. People show us this. Young people, and I was engineer. I got into a company, only company making machine tools, and after 2-3 I got promoted to a supervisor over British and Scottish people. I was spit on. I was, looked bad at. I suffered like hell, but I didn't give up.
Good for
so
you.
I rose to vice president of the company. Then I owned the company eventually for 30 years. Only company in Canada making machines. But we went through hell. But how can you distinguish between Muslim, Indian, or who look like, then people, everybody calls us too. Maybe you're Muslim, they get after us, or vice versa. So how can you tell? How are you going to distinguish?
We're going to have to do the best we can, but
best doesn't mean anything.
But we don't want radical extremists coming in. And if they're coming in with agenda like that Edmonton terrorist, surely you don't want that type of person coming in, do you?
Yeah.
So we have to do better at the borders to prevent people like that.
No, but you had a generally bad concept about colored people. When
I've been to India. I spent 6 months in India.
I know, 45 years when I came here, we were treated like shit.
But why do you think...
we came here legally, with a visa and everything.
We have no issue. It has nothing to do with color, sir.
Yeah, but now you're generalizing everything,
What are we generalizing?
Yeah.
What are we generalizing?
Yeah, check it, these people, basically...
We don't want radical extremists. They could be KKK, they could be Islamic extremists, they could be Sikh extremists, it doesn't matter.
We don't care about the color.
You're Sikh, I see that.
Yeah, I'm Sikh.
I can see it by your bracelet, because I know what a Sikh is.
Yeah.
And I've no...
But that takes a long time to see it. Some people are
But
not
it doesn't matter whether you're Sikh to us.
after those people too.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
So,
we're just saying we don't believe there should be radical extremists in our country. And we think all moderate Canadian, regardless of your color, regardless of your religion, you would agree with us.
Yeah, but a lot of people come through regular channel. They apply, they get scrutinized, they get,
It's not enough.
and everything.
It's not enough. It's a free-for-all right now. There's enclaves forming in Canada, across this country. They're leading to no-go zones. This is a fact. I know Sharia is being practiced now in Canada. 100%.
But
That's wrong, and that shouldn't be tolerated. That's all we're saying. And what is it going to lead to? Just look to Europe. So we're saying enough is enough. And it has nothing to do with being Sikh. I have a lot of Sikh friends.
I know, but you may have some other people when you.
Well, we don't.
Talking like this. A lot of other people don't know who's.
But we don't tolerate those people either. I've called out extreme right. Extreme right. I've called them out, and they've attacked me. I've been attacked for over 2 years now by those type of people. Because I wanted at one time Syrian refugees. And they said, look at me, right? Back in 2015. Like most Canadians when they were floating up on the beaches. So I'm called a racist now.
So if someone were to immigrate here, so a Christian with the Bible comes in on through the internet, like Pearson, let's say, and someone with the Quran comes in, which person would you flag?
It would depend on their background.
So
if there's any
Red flags.
because there's data on people, right?
So we already have a system like that to security
It's not
check.
good enough because people are coming in
But most of the incidents that happen, the terrorist incidents are homegrown. They've grown up in Canada, and increasingly it's becoming white nationalists, white supremacists that are carrying out these attacks.
Like what attacks are you talking about?
Let's say the Charlottes are...
That's U.S.
Yes,
That's
but
US.
it's still incorporating everywhere. It's still happening here.
We would
It's
apply
still
the full extent of the law to that.
Okay.
Full extent, and we already say that.
Why are you specifically going towards Islam extremists?
That's only one example. It could be some Christian extremism. It could be some Sikh extremism. It could be some Hindu extremism. It could be some atheist extremism.
I just feel the whole way your party is going about this is wrong and impedes on people's rights.
It can't be an open flow through the borders.
Because
we have MS-13 coming in through the borders
yes,
now.
that's right.
I just feel
this is a vicious gang coming up from Guatemala. So do you want us just to have open borders?
And what the fascists were doing to separate Jews between people who don't practice
I just met with the Jewish community.
Yes, but what you're proposing is very similar to what the Nazis did.
They support what we're saying in the Jewish community. So how are you linking me to Nazis?
Do all Jews support?
Right? Come on. I just met with them, and if anyone knows about Nazis,
yeah,
it's our beautiful Canadian Jewish community. They know about it, and everything we're saying is reasonable. They're worried as a community, and there's other communities, minority communities like them that are worried. So, but I appreciate your point. You don't want to take it too far. I agree with you, but it can't be just an open border free for all.
But it's not.
It is.
It's not.
Why is MS-13 in the country?
Who are you trying to tell? Trudeau or the opposition? Who are you trying to tell?
We don't have to tell them. We're running against them. We're running against them. So, but this has nothing to do with race, ethnicity, color, all that nonsense. This is all about Canadian. No, I appreciate your points of view. No, thank you, sir. I really appreciate your point of view.
Disagree.
Thank you. Check out our policy, sir.
So only agenda you have is immigration, nothing else.
Zero. We have a full agenda.
Immigration is only one kind.
Canada, you name it. Here, give him a card.
Yeah.
Here. Check our. Go to the source.
I don't have time.
Nice to meet you, sir. Nice to meet you. Any comments, sir?
No, we're just watching.
Yeah. Where are you from?
We're from Alberta.
Oh, good. So am I. I'm from Calgary.
Nice.
Yeah.
Near Lethbridge.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah. Southern Alberta.
Yeah.
Yeah. Enjoy your stay in Ottawa.
Yeah. So is this a political party?
Yeah, it's Alberta based, but it's national.
Where we have candidates running across Canada. Is it okay? Do you mind if I film?
Oh no.
No. Okay.
I thought
Okay.
PF, what is it? People's Party of PPC are you with them or?
No, zero.
So what's the difference?
A lot, big difference. They're globalist libertarians. We're populist nationalists.
But they were called populists.
Well, they like to call themselves, but when you support globalists, TPP, and
What do you mean by? I'm not arguing. I'm asking.
I'm just, when you support stuff like that, and we know about Bernays' background and his connections to the Power Corp and etc.
Koch brothers. Yeah.
And all that.
Yeah.
But when you support globalist TP, globalist trade with China, globalist trade with India, Kanzuk, right? You just connect the dots on it. So he can pretend he's a populist, but we have research on our website which shows that he's a globalist libertarian pretending to be otherwise. Do your fact check on it?
No. Oh yeah.
Yeah. But we got some really good factual articles. So the truth is coming out. People are seeing that, but people should just be true. Don't try and pretend to be something you're not. And otherwise, it's going to catch up to you because you're trying to deceive people. Just be true, right? So I'd be happy to debate that guy any day. Tell him that if you're in contact with him. Any day. I actually invited him to excluded leaders debate in Halifax. He hasn't got back to us. I don't think he's going to show his face because he's afraid of being exposed. So we'll see. The truth will come out. Get informed. Compare the policies.
You guys are from Alberta?
Yes, we are.
I'm from New Brunswick.
We got a beautiful policy comparison.
Were you in the elections then
No. We were registered January 30th, 2019.
same as the P?
Around the same time, but he got a lot of coverage. We got one media coverage, and the guy tried to make me look bad. So you see the difference. We're non-establishment. He's establishment. He's in the Privy Council, career politician. I'm not. So there's a lot of differences.
I'm not quite sure what you mean by when we talk about the differences. Globalist economy? Is that what you said? What did you say?
Globalist agenda, UN.
Yeah, what do you mean by that?
UN Agenda 2030. Harper adopted it. Look it up. It's all about global citizenry, climate change, sustainable energy, open borders. Did you know?
But he's going right against.
No, he's not. He's not telling you the truth. He's pretending. Because what's happening is I can't give you all the facts today, but in 2019 alone, the true migration numbers through all streams is over 950,000 a year.
Yeah, but we're talking globalist economy, right? Or no?
No, we don't support mass migration.
No, but they don't either.
No, but they do, because they don't talk about it. So
no, they want to bring the numbers down.
No, they don't.
225,000. That's what.
No, but they're lying. But they don't talk about the total migration. They're all into temporary foreign workers flooding in, like Harper. So the true migration numbers this year are 950,000 plus. They say in the media it's only 300,000.
Yeah, I know.
You understand that?
Last year was 800,000.
You understand that?
But that's including but that's including the
temporary foreign workers,
international.
What's called?
Student permits. So all those mainstream parties are sporting around 950,000. Harper was around 720,000 plus. So when they talk 250,000, they're just lying to you, because that's only this little the regular immigration. They don't want you to know the big picture.
Yeah.
So Bernier he's deceiving people. He's at least 770,000 plus in 1 year.
But that's not what their mandate says.
But all the parties are saying that. But he's only talking regular. He doesn't want you to know the big picture. You understand that?
Yeah, I'll look into it.
Look into it, sir. We're 50,000 or less. Total migration. 50,000 or less.
That's quite a few less.
Yeah. So just do the comparisons.
Yeah,
there's a lot of misinformation in the media. You know, these career politicians, they spin and they manipulate. Bernier's, he's doing all these catchwords, and this is just manipulation.
So would you be in favor of pulling out of the Paris Accord?
We're in favor of pulling out of UN Agenda 21, UN Agenda 2030. None of them talk about it. We believe climate change,
yes.
UN, CP, IPCC, it's a hoax.
You might have to explain that a little bit better.
You have to go to our website, please, sir, and check out our climate change. There's videos on it that explain it. But there's a beautiful climatologist out in, I believe it's Manitoba, Dr. Tim Ball.
Tim Ball.
He's done incredible research on climate change and the hoax coming out of the IPCC.
But you're saying you want to pull out of the Paris Accord?
Oh, 100%.
But that's what the PDF says.
No, but we go beyond that. We talk about UN Agenda 2030.
I think she had a question for you, Stephen. Did she have a question?
Tell her to come back.
Did you want to ask him a quick question?
No, we're going to be late because we've got.
I
Where are you
understand.
from?
I just want. Well, she's from Belgium. I just want to say I totally agree with you on refugees and immigrants that we don't need.
Where are you from?
Belgium.
Oh my
Nice.
God, I can't believe what's going on there.
I know.
Look at Brussels, eh?
And Antwerp.
Antwerp,
It's not
yeah.
Antwerp anymore,
Thank you.
it's not
Check
Belgium.
out our stuff.
Yeah.
Spread the message.
We have candidates running across Canada in the election.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have
She's
a great
from Europe.
have a great day.
Oh, where from?
She gets it. Praise on you.
Yeah.
Let's stay united. Enjoy your stay in Canada.
Yesterday we ran into
Stay. Yeah. Stay safe. Yeah. Stay safe.
Germany is usually the general example of that. So that is absolutely
Wonderful, eh?
Yeah. Great stuff. Some good stuff.
Netherlands is no different from Sweden. is it? France, yeah. France.
Yeah. Check out the platform, the policies. We got comparisons. Check them out. And check it out.
I
Sir.
haven't.
Yeah. Check it out, and then contact us. Let's continue this dialogue. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Enjoy your stay. How long you're in Ottawa? For?
Till Monday. What's that? Oh. But there's no names.
Which? Hey, sir, how are you doing?
I can talk to you, but not on camera.
Yeah.
Not on camera? Okay.
Just shut it down.
No,